one of the interesting developments which happened this year is, I don't know if it is for the first time, but certainly after a very long time, Egypt has started importing wheat from India. There was particular interest in Egypt about getting one of our IITs, Indian Institutes of Technology, to set up a collaborative enterprise here. The relationship is good, the possibilities are greater. There is enthusiasm in India to explore it. On the trade side, we actually had an exceptionally good year last year. Our trade today is in excess of $7 billion, $7.26 billion. It was a big jump, almost a 75% jump in trade. And it was a jump actually for us with the entire world. Last year's trade performance, export performance for India was the best ever in our history. And it was only natural that this was also reflected in respect of Egypt. Having said that, with trade, there will always be challenges. We will keep trying to improve market access. It is natural that from the Egyptian side also there will be similar concerns. And one of our understandings today is that both of us will try and see how do we find ways of removing trade barriers, of finding new domains and new areas to both export and import. In fact, one of the interesting developments which happened this year is, I don't know if it is for the first time, but certainly after a very long time, Egypt has started importing wheat from India. So there are new possibilities, and we looked at areas like pharmaceuticals, where India is today very, very competitive, engineering goods, and again, the good thing with Egypt is that trade has been reasonably balanced, so there's an inclination on both sides to do more. We also spoke about education, because today under the national education policy, our universities are going out in a much more enthusiastic manner. I understand there have been already some agreements which private Indian universities have reached here. We look forward to the realization of that. But obviously there was particular interest in Egypt about getting one of our IITs, Indian Institutes of Technology, to set up a collaborative enterprise here. So I will go and convey that back to the Education Minister. The relationship is good, the possibilities are greater. There is enthusiasm in India to explore it. I saw reciprocal interest in Egypt. Tomorrow, certainly, when I have the opportunity to call on the President, I will reiterate to him the strong personal commitment of our Prime Minister to growing this relationship. This time, we were among the earliest to vaccinate. We did it mainly because we were ourselves producers of vaccine. So there were made in India vaccines. There were even invented in India vaccines, of which I was one of the people who took it. And most important, there was the platform to administer vaccines on a massive scale. And this is very important because a lot of countries have struggled with having vaccines but not having the organization to administer the vaccine. So the first big takeaway which I would like you to appreciate is that we went through really an enormous trial and tribulation, but I think the society came together. We had the leadership of the Prime Minister in facing up to this challenge. There was delivery on the ground, the system responded to it. And as a result today, when still a number of societies are struggling to come out of the COVID situation, as someone who travels a lot in the world, I can tell you that our return to normalcy has been much faster, much deeper in a way than many other societies. During COVID, Indians who were stuck outside in some form, could be students, could be professionals, could be seafarers. We made what was really an unprecedented effort to bring many of them back home. So this is an India today capable of doing big things, which has proven that it can rise to challenges. So it's that sense of today determination and resilience that I share with you. We are interestingly a health hub for many countries. People would be surprised at the number of foreigners who visit India for medical purposes. Not just in our immediate neighborhood, from the Gulf, from East Africa, from Central Asia. I have visibility of it because as a foreign minister, for us, we see the visas, we see the requests from them for easy travel. The idea that India can offer quality care on competitive terms for a fairly substantial number of people, that is there. I think I now see the prospect of Indian medical, hospitals and other medical institutions actually going out of India more as a business, and some of it is happening, sometimes in collaboration with other countries. So that is one part of the hub answer. The other part of the hub answer is actually the pharma, the pharmacy of the world answer. This was not the first pandemic, it's not the last pandemic. And it's not only pandemics. What COVID has done in India, it has done across the world. Everybody today is much more health conscious. That many things which people would have shrugged their shoulders and say, well, these things happen. Today, people are not prepared to be fatalistic about it. They want an active response. They have expectations of their governments. And we have shown here, again, I'm giving you not here a health perspective, but a foreign policy perspective. I cannot tell you the goodwill in the world today that while we were taking care of our own vaccinations, we also had the largeness of the heart to spare it for other people. Our reputation as the pharmacy of the world also has grown. Openness, to looking at Indian produce made in India or produced by Indian company medicines has grown. That is the second part of the hub. It's necessary for independent-minded countries to actually speak their mind, to seek to shape and influence the direction in which the world is going, because the world is getting very polarized, and it's a double polarization. It's a east-west polarization, but it is also a north-south polarization. That the richer countries, the more developed countries, they are not fully grasping how much the poorer countries are being hurt by what is happening in the world. So it's a very stressful, it's a very unhappy world today. Countries are struggling, and in this, those who have the confidence, the experience, the capability to speak out, it's important that they do, that they don't go with the tide, so to speak, and to ensure that I think voices of reason, of sanity, of sobriety are needed at this point of time, and certainly I see India as such a voice, and to the extent there are other countries with a similar bent of mind and who also would like to think and act in a similar manner, I think it would be a very good thing.